There we go. There we go. There we go. Live.
Okay. Yes. Hello.
Hello,
Good
Beena.
morning, Syl.
Good
Good
morning,
morning.
Beena. Is that a nice
Good morning.
hello? A very nice
Yes.
hello.
Good
Hello,
morning, screen.
screen.
Good morning, everyone, whoever is watching us and will watch us recorded. Welcome to today's live. And as we are on a project and we are reading and going through, but it's a big deal today because tomorrow is going to be the podcast day. This is really exciting and important for us, of course, especially for me. I've been like really looking for these type of things. Yes, not 100% still, of course, but this is the start. This is the initiating point for us, and especially for Sil, that he is going there where where actually he belongs to. I'm not saying that okay, deserving. It's not a deserving thing. This idea is completely corrupt for deserving and non-deserving. I think that it is
Long though.
where he belongs to. Yes, we need to be
Just where
there.
he
Everybody.
belongs, not to. Just where
Yes.
he belongs.
Yeah. Okay, where he belongs. Okay, thank you for correction. But this is something I was thinking about. We assume that oh, this is what we deserve. Deserving is a big topic, and that okay, do we really deserve or not? We assume that, so it's a different thing. And of course, everybody has that is something in life which they feel that okay, oh, this is what I truly believe deserve. But they never get that there. Is it like okay, oh, universe is unfair with them? No, no, it's not like that.
No,
It's our assumption. We
exactly.
all
Exactly.
need
We
to
deserve
be
everything.
exactly,
And we
and of
deserve
course that's
nothing.
why it's not. But when we understand that where we belong, we put some effort to that, and that effort is really what makes it legit for us to be there.
Exactly.
That's it.
Now, Beena, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Can we
Yes.
choose where we belong?
Yes.
We can.
Yes. Yes. It's an ongoing process. Right now, where I belong, I am here. If I'm not progressing, if I'm not working on myself, if I'm not putting some effort to be more aware, I will stay here. But if I'm working continuously on myself, if I'm trying to be more aware, if I'm working on my choices and being really impeccable, trying to be impeccable in my choices, then I will belong to somewhere else, maybe. Or maybe we all will upgrade. So it's about like that okay, right now in this moment, where I belong, okay, right now, this is where I belong. But next moment, where I will be, it's a different thing.
Ah, now, can you change how you feel where you belong?
Yes.
That's the key point. To say, oh, I belong.
Yes.
If you don't feel it, you don't belong.
Exactly.
If you don't feel it, you don't belong.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Hey,
That's why the clarity of self-conception is a big, huge
exactly.
deal. We have to
Exactly.
be very, very careful about and really self-honest with the
Yes.
self-conception. Everybody loves to have big titles,
Exactly.
big, beautiful
Exactly.
names with all the good attributes attached to that. Oh, I'm wonderful, I'm awesome, I'm this and that. Yes, it's a good thing to say positive thing, but it is not really beneficial to exaggerate and just negative self-honesty behind you and just creating something which your inner self not agree with. So this is something self-honesty is a big, huge deal. And this is, of course, really a helpful thing from Way of Impeccability and Moreness project for me.
Huge. It's
To
huge. The
have that, to
self-conception
have,
and
yes,
that's what Beena said. Said you have to feel your self-conception. That's what
exactly,
makes the
exactly.
self-conception concept so potent, and particularly in Way of Impeccability, where it's emphasized, not just the self-conception, but feeling your self-conception, having it be real. And you have to go into exquisite detail to be able to feel it, right? So it's a very
Yes,
precise, very detailed thing. But of course, it's not a definition, so it doesn't limit you. The precision comes to feeling it just right, because once you feel it, then it becomes real. It's very, very important. It's very important. Great point.
it is very important. And I was thinking about that. Of course, it's a continuous process for me. It's a process, and it is going on every single day, every single moment. I just got something to learn. And then this self-conception, because a lot of affirmations like, okay, you must always talk positive about yourself. Yes, you must talk always about yourself, but without having an honesty there, it's a false claim. You're
Correct.
lying about yourself.
Correct. And it's actually counterproductive.
It is counterproductive
Because if
because
you
it put a
say stuff
lot of
that's
stress.
false, which is the whole
Yes,
affirmations thing, you got to be very careful. If you don't believe
exactly.
those affirmations, all you are doing is you're telling yourself, I'm a liar, I'm a liar, I'm a liar. Every time you stay in the mirror to repeat those self affirmations. If you keep saying,
Yes.
I'm wonderful, and you don't feel it, you don't believe it, you just feel like a liar, and it's just counterproductive. So
It is
very,
it
very
is
important.
it is counterproductive also because that your awareness, your innate awareness
Yeah,
is aware that you are creating an illusion for yourself.
precisely. Precisely.
And
You
that
just feel like a
illusion is of
BSer.
course going to exactly, and then of course you are not going to be aligned with everything around you are creating yourself with. This is something it's an ongoing thing, and we are working, and of course I'm working on myself. I'm really proud of it, this thing that, okay, yes, I'm
Yeah.
working, I've learned something. This is something I just say positive about myself every single day, that I have learned something. It's a little tiny minute thing, but still it is something as an improvement. I learned something about myself, and I learned something about the life around me, of course.
Yes.
This is the magic of awareness, that you start liking this process. Yes, sometimes awful truth also come into, like, oh my God, Beena, so you were doing this, oh, because of this, okay. But these awful truth were awful truth, and I don't like this term. Still, I don't like this because it's a very hard term according to my understanding. I
Big
don't like it.
baby. Big baby.
But I say that, okay, it's not an awful truth for me. It's like, oh yeah, okay, so I was doing that. Okay, good to know. Good to know. And I, okay, yes. Again, coming back to Syl, while you are pulling all these things, and if you have done so, then I will
Well,
share
I
with the
am done.
world.
I am done. I just
Okay,
thought
then let's
yeah,
get
yeah. We'll get going
into,
right in a second. I just want to
yes.
add a chapter um to 50 ways. 50
Hmm.
ways to be smarter using opposites. And this is uh in affirmations.
Hmm.
I'll call them inverse affirmations.
Okay.
Because it's exactly what we said. Well, affirmations are good, but they can have the opposite effect if you don't pay attention. So it's another way to use opposite, right? And understand how it works. So it's kind of a peculiar one. It's not quite the usual that you might think, but still, this is important. This is important. Yes.
Yes.
All right. We shall get going. We shall get going. We shall get going. By the way, just for anybody who's interested, Ask Biella book one is pretty much done. We're doing final approvals. There's always, you check and you check and you go over and I go over, and it's almost like this never ending final. But what we're doing now is just, we added in this pictures, introduction right here about Biella, and then chapter one. This is the very first picture on chapter one. And so I want to go through all of this. See, okay, can we put a better picture in here? Can we put another better picture in here? That's chapter two now, right? So we just want to go over this and check and see. And chapter three, I don't know why it defaults to bringing this just the program. Right? Anyway, so we'll go over that and say, I'm just saying it's pretty much ready to go because the editing is all done of the words. Um, and that's pretty cool. I'm busy making audio files for them with the AI, but I don't need to use that. So it's not necessary. But I want to say something very important before we get going.
Yes.
And that is, hello, Norma. Hello, wonderful Norma. Oh, very important, very important. I saw it there earlier, but Beena was busy saying, and I didn't want to. Who is Biela then? It's a wonderful question. Will you please answer, Beena?
Who is asking?
What's that?
I said, who is asking?
Uh, does it matter?
This is an answer also, okay, in a roundabout way. We all are.
Hey, Venus too clever for us, Norma. Venus too clever for us. Yes, Norma is asking.
Okay, yes. So we all are Biela. Okay, not entirely, not in totality, but we all are. We all have that. We
Yes.
all have some aspect of ourselves. Okay, I feel that. Okay, yes. Syl is of course very much there, but we all have something. So Biela is something that okay, just made up of every good and impeccable aspect of everybody.
They're mourners. You take everybody's mourners and you put it all together, you get Biela.
Yes.
And she has her own uniqueness, but definitely Biela is all of us, right? So here we go. I'll read this for you, Norma, since you asked. And this is in the book now. It says about Biela. Biela Noble is an alter ego, an avatar, an amalgam, and main character of the Biela series. Biela represents much sensibility, goodness, awareness, discernment, understanding, compassion, sophistication, and more. She is to some extent an ideal we might aspire to. Right? That's what Beena was saying, that she's all of us. Through hearing Biela share her discernment and understanding, through her application of all she is and stands for, we obtain a marvelous view of Nobelia-Living, which is the specific and deliberate applied culture of Nobelia. A culture, oh, it doesn't say more about her yet, it talks about Nobelia. Okay, I thought it was more about Biela, but the best way to get to know Biela is just to listen to her share, right? We tend to say who is somebody, and we want these specific definitions. Say this, say that. Listen to what she says, how she shares things. Listen to her tone, her mood, her vibe, her concern, her consideration, etc. Then you'll get to know who she is. To me, Biela is our heart that knows how to connect to mind. She feels very deeply. She cares very deeply. She's exquisitely, inordinately considerate beyond the regular understandings of consideration, right? As we hear in the questions, right? Like, where people ask a question and she could just say, like this, is false modesty a good thing? Yeah. I mean, she could have just said no. That would be the end of it. Right? I mean, the person sent the question in, asked it, or emailed it, or whatever, asked it wherever, and she could have just replied, no, next question, right? She gets lots of them, or at the time, right? Um, but she doesn't, because that's not what the person really means. The question is self-evidently a no, right? They want to know more. This is her consideration. She gives more. She gives more. She gives more. Not only does she give more, but she's also very, very thoughtful. In other words, she makes the effort to think things through to the end. And you hear that. She's also very sophisticated. You see that too in her answers. She's very kind. She's very gentle. She's very generous, right? So there's all of these wonderful qualities. Right? So it's a great question, Norma. But when we really think of Biela as a representation of our moreness and our potential moreness, but actualized. That's the thing. Biela is real. That's the thing with Biela. Biela is real. Yes, she is an ideal that we can aspire to, but she's an attainable ideal. I should really say that. Biela is an attainable ideal we can aspire to. I'm almost thinking to just add that into this thing in the front here. Yeah. She is to some extent an attainable ideal we might aspire to. Yeah. You agree, Beena?
Yes.
You know what? I'm even going to take out to some extent.
Hmm.
She is, flat out. And I don't even want to say she, say Biella, right?
Yes.
Since I have it in both books, I need to add it into book one as well. So thank you, Norma. See how important your questions are. See how important your questions are, Norma. Change the book. Important stuff. Important stuff. All right. Where were we yesterday? Did we do applied learning? I think so, right? Assimilation. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. We did. We did. Okay. This is a good one. But I'm not sure of. Okay. So this is cool. Chapter 4, and I like this figure here, right? Somewhat androgynous, which is also cool. I just like the whole design, the art, and it. Well, also you get this. You're gonna see with the people, and they sort of floating and falling, maybe jumping, whatever. It becomes a part of the story. You'll see. You'll see. It's very cool. I like this. I like this. This was yeah. This was very cool. This came about in a roundabout way. Um, well, the question was actually rhetoric, right? I was chatting with somebody, and you can see there dot dot dot, right? It came up, and they said, "But I'm not sure of the consequences. How could I have been so stupid? I don't like making mistakes." It was completely rhetorical, but I chose to answer it despite it being rhetorical. Because people say so often, "Oh, how could I have been so stupid?" So, fortuitous mistakes. I absolutely love this. Absolutely love this chapter. Just to let you know now, Beena, she's third. I don't know what you mean third in what. I'm not. I don't understand. In on Nobelia, there's no rankings and hierarchy, so I don't know what you mean by third. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean, Norma? I don't understand. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see. I'm keen to know what Norma means. We'll see. But in the meantime, we'll read. Right? Dear C, accidents I have found where one says, I don't know how I could have been so stupid, are invariably gifts of awareness and learning. It's quite amazing. I do hear you fully and have a little story for you. This platoon of soldiers is patrolling the jungle. Suddenly they come to a clearing. The clearing slopes upward away from them, and they don't know what's at the further end. Crossing to the high side, they see it's actually the edge of a cliff with a river down below. All of a sudden, one of the soldiers, Lotus, just decides to jump into the river for no reason at all. A really stupid thing to do because there's no easy access to the river from where the platoon is. The platoon leader is really pissed. As Lotus starts floating away down the river, he realizes that his only option is for all of them to also jump down into the river after Lotus. He yells swine face as they all follow Lotus and jump in. Swine face. Anyway, but right as he is jumping, right, this is the lieutenant now, right? The platoon leader, right? But right as he's jumping, he sees an enemy patrol emerging from the jungle at the bottom of the clearing. They don't see him or his patrol as he's the last to jump, which is just as well. If they had, his patrol would have been caught in the open, and even jumping down would not have saved them, as the enemy would then just have picked them off in the river. Turns out Lotus, in his stupidity, saved them all. Asked later why he had jumped at the time, did he sense the enemy coming? Did he have a strong intuition? Was it an advanced strategic maneuver? He simply replied, I don't know how I could have been so stupid. Right? To take it back to the question. Right? This is Lotus's reply. Don't know how I could have been so stupid. Trick to learn. The universe often tricks us into learning. It does. It does. It does. So often we feel compelled to act in ways we don't understand. It's valuable indeed to act on those feelings. Usually they are not as extreme as in this example. Mostly, they seem to lead to new opportunities and avenues which we would not ordinarily consider. That's what's wrong. It's a little bigger here. Struggling to read. There we go. That's my okay. Bar, you need to go away. Mostly they seem to lead to new opportunities and avenues which we would not ordinarily consider. To connect with what we don't know yet, we have to step outside of ourselves and jump off a cliff every now and then. Very poetic, very poetic using the example. Oh, here we are. There's the example, right? The art jumping down into the river. Okay, the one down here, it doesn't look like he was quite so successful, and the river's a little shallower than what I imagined. But it's hard to get specific things, right? Get them to do. But yeah, it's close enough anyway. It gives the idea. We tend to think, what does this mean, rather than what could this mean? Seems a simple difference, but one is backward looking with all the context, connections, and associations of our past. The other looks forward, more open, and could be anything. If we follow the clues in a forward direction, it's a whole other process to unraveling them backward into our experiences. How often is a mistake actually one? No, it is unraveling. I want to unravel. Unraveling them backwards. No, backwards. All other process to unraveling them backwards. All right, I guess. But one is backward. No, that is backward. All right. Jump, jump, jump into possibility, says the quote here. The virtue of mistakes. Those who focus on their mistakes are doomed to make many more. We all make actions or doings, but what makes it into a mistake or not? Only our perspective. How many times have we done something which we thought at the time was a huge mistake, but then later it turned out to be great? Yeah? But then later turned out to be great, becoming a fortuitous mistake. Right? So how can we ever know for sure if a mistake is truly a mistake? We can't. We can label it as such because it seems to be so at the time, but that's just ego, thinking it knows all, no matter what we do or how it seems at the time. If we have a positive perspective on it and make an effort, if we have a positive perspective, doesn't have to be on it, and make an effort to make the best of whatever we have done, make the effort to learn and maximize, then whatever we do gets turned towards the positive, and it matters little how we label it. Because doing that makes whatever we do good. Not maybe always nice, but by our efforts and perspectives and attitudes, we make it good, no matter how it started. We make it good. We make it good. This is a very important thing to make things good deliberately. Right? Very important. Of course, we always learn. We always enjoy the opportunity to practice, to fine tune and refine. Oftentimes, we need to see where the boundaries are, where the breakpoint is, and our so called mistakes help us to do that. There are many, many other benefits to making so called mistakes, like seeing and realize that it's never really such a big deal as it seemed at the time. And this leads us to understand that we can stress and worry, and that we leads us to understand, leads us to understand we stress and worry and fuss way too much. It's never that much of a big deal. Not only that, it leads us to become aware of the opportunities which we are throwing away by reacting negatively. So many opportunities for learning and personal growth. And most importantly, no matter how much we learn and know, we always are going to only know a fraction of what's out there to know. Thus, the likelihood of mistakes is always going to be with us. And unless we learn to move away from the mistake mentally, we'll be doomed to a lifetime. The only way to avoid this inevitability is to realize that no matter what we did or what happens to us, or what happens, ourselves, we are the ones who have the power to make it into something good and valuable or not. All it takes is a shift in perspective. Biella. That was very odd reading, if you ask me. Yeah. What do you think, Beena?
Yes. Yes.
Was I reading peculiarly?
So, very interesting. Yes.
What do you think? What do you think, Norma? What do you think, Norma? What do you think? All right. So a little backstory on this, which I don't want to include in the book. Obviously, you'll see why in a moment. But since we're reading these, this is the place where I can include backstory. And so the friend I was talking to on the time in chat, in text chat, right? Uh, her name is Charlotte, and I know her from gaming, and
Mm.
and this is she knew me before I came on Facebook, right? And she always knew me as Syl, and that's Syl Denada, and that's how come I had the name initially on Facebook, even as Syl Denada. But anyway, so yeah, and sometimes I was called Syl D as well. But anyway, so her name is Charlotte, but she's called Lottie as an abbreviation of Charlotte, right? So in the gaming world, we always knew her as Lottie, even though her characters weren't called Lo, but we'd be on voice comms like Discord or whatever. Just talking, no video, just so she was always Lottie, right? And so that's where Lotus comes from, because Lotus to me is like the male version of Lottie, right? Because I guess there could have been female soldiers too. But I wanted a male character for that little bit of like, well, no, I don't know, if it was a woman that jumped off and said, well, I just this felt the right thing to do, we accepted. It would be a little different. Women are more sensible like that. Anyway, so that's how come the name Lotus came from. Like I was teasing her a little bit because she said she'd made the mistake, right? How could I have been so stupid? I don't like making mistakes. There must be a comma here. I don't know. He simply replied, I don't know. How could I have been so stupid? It's how could I? Okay. Thought this was a bit obvious. There we go. I don't know. How could I have been so stupid? I know it's kind of a funny story. It's a fun story there, right? Any comments, Beena? Any comments?
Not yet. Yes. Please
Not yet?
continue.
Okay. I'm on
Yes.
my own, says Beena. I'm on my own. All right. All right. Chapter 5. Chapter 5. How serious are we? What's the difference between intent and intention? Isn't this wonderful that somebody actually asked this question? Beena?
Yes.
Now, we've discussed this
Yes.
many times on the lives, on the opens. We've gone into this many
Yes.
times.
Yes.
Yes. Uh,
Yes.
yeah. Oh, maybe Venus comment. We were talking about who is Biella, and so I think, or at least my guess here is that Norma is saying that Beena is a third of Biella, and the other two
Heard of
thirds
Biella?
could be me, and then Norma, and then we get Biella. Yes, Norma.
Oh, okay. 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 Wow.
There you go.
Thank you, Norma. It's a big deal. It's a big
Yeah,
deal.
yeah. I think so too. I think so too. I think so too. So, all right. What's the difference between intent and intention? Now, what's going to be fun here, Beena, uh, to listen to is this was written a very long time ago. Right? This was one of the very early questions, and and subsequent to that, I've shared a lot. I'm curious to see how Biela's answer to this question, how she answers it relative to how we've been answering it more recently, right? It'll be very interesting to see. Let's see. Dear Q, as I see it, intention is similar to wish, but more realistic. It's something we want or desire to happen, to take place. but are not yet fully committed to. I see intentions as impotent. Wow. Wow. That's a good word. Impotent.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever used that. Right? You've never heard me say, I think intentions are impotent. Yeah.
Yes. Never.
You know what? I think I'm actually going to take this and put it in my quote file. It's very simple. It's very simple, and I might even attribute it to fine at some point. Biella was just repeating it there, but all right, we'll just put it there. There we go. Bna, bna, yeah, bna. I see intentions as input. In and of themselves, they have no power to affect change. Wow, 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 wow. Yeah, that I have to add that to the quote now, right? On its own, it's powerful, but together, it's even more powerful. Correct? In and of themselves, they have no power to affect change. I don't think this really is even a thought, a consideration, a conception, an understanding, and an awareness, a discernment of intentions. When people talk, oh, my intention is to this, an intention in and of itself is impotent. They have no power to affect change. That's why they're impotent, because in and of themselves, they have no power to affect change. In and of themselves, they have no power to change. This is, to me, it's like a duh, right? It's an indisputable point that Biela is making. You can't really dispute that, yes? In and of themselves, they have no power. It's like, well, duh. Hmm? This is fantastic. Intent, on the other hand, is where we have become utterly serious about what we want when we take action on our intentions. Oh, why would I want to remove comma? When we take action on our intentions, when we actually do something about them, this again means when we make effort in some way, and especially when we make a real commitment of some kind. Intent is often a non-physical doing. It's not often, it's always a non-physical doing, correct? I understand what Biela meant there, but it's intent is a non-physical doing. Doing. Make sense, Beena?
Yes.
We have to be able to have intentions which are inactive, merely speculative or exploratory. Otherwise, our lives would be a mess and awash with intents we don't actually and truly want implemented. Thus, the difference is action, effort, and commitment. That's how we distinguish between what we are serious about and what we are not. Intention suggests the mere ambition to do something, where intent suggests the application of reason and energy to actually carry it out. I'm very much debating whether to do this. This was actually a quote from Camillus, but Camillus didn't put energy; he just put reason. Isn't that interesting, Beena?
Yes.
How that difference? It's profound. I mean, it's like it says so much about Camillus that he doesn't say and energy. The doing is not there, just the reason. Yeah. Energy is what makes it all happen, right? But I'm debating whether to say whereas or just where. I'm going to leave it as where. And a little bit of connection to Camillus there. How serious are we? All right. Connected energy. See, Camillus, here it comes now, dude. Here it comes now. It's a pretty picture. but this one might get changed. Yes, this doesn't really
Yes.
do much. Connected energy. There's an underlying implication with intent of a connection to an energy source outside of our regular self and energy. Now, here intent is is capitalized, and I'm going to italicize to make that distinction, right? So what I want here really is something that represents energy, right? Just like energy out in space. Yeah. There's an underlying implication with intent of a connection to an energy source outside of our regular self or energy. It seems to be an associated assumption which accompanies intent, even if not conscious. Mm.
The picture is frozen for me, sir. Oh,
No, that was me actually just pausing, not the picture.
okay.
Just me being being thoughtful.
Okay.
This year, it seems to be an associated assumption which accompanies intent. And no, it's not an assumption. Yeah, it's an association which accompanies intent. Uh, you know, it's scenes must go. Uh, Biella was being very cautious here, and I don't think it's necessary to be cautious. Yeah, she's trying not to say things too definitively, but it's an association which accompanies intent, right? This connectivity to energy, even if not conscious. Many of the actions which we implement as intents would seem to be pointless without this implied connection to an energy source outside of ourselves. Does that make sense? Very much so, right? If you
Yes.
if you
Yes.
have intent without connecting to a larger, bigger, extra energy source, then it's just action. Yes, it's just wish, it's just hope, or whatever. It's a whole different thing. Many of the actions which we implement as intents would seem to be pointless without this implied connection to an energy source outside of self. In other words, if I intend for my podcast to be a big success, many people connect. Without connecting to the universe's energy, it's but pointless to set that as an intent. I can use my little bit of energy, yes, but I know my energy is too small to make that happen. Like, I can't guarantee that it will. Yes, however, the larger energy source, the universe energy source, that can make anything happen. So I have a realistic chance, if that gets involved, of that intent materializing. Yes, make sense?
Yep.
However, now it's not mentioned in this article, at least I don't think so. But if you want to get a bit technical on it here, when I implement an intent using only my own personal energy, that's will, not intent. Then I'm willing it. See? Make sense?
Yes.
All right. All right. Very cool.
Yep. Yep.
All right. Many of the
Yes.
actions which we say again.
No, I was just saying yes.
Okay. Just a heart as energy of love. Ah, yes, Norma. Yes, Norma. Yes, Norma. Universe
Yes.
never says no. It's quite fascinating, how we get what we want, even though it's not necessarily good. Yeah, the universe doesn't say no. That's why, bad people get what they intend to. Gives you what you want. Gives you what you want. You don't always know what you're asking. Sometimes, you think you want it, but it has negative consequence later that you don't know about. Many of the actions which we implement as intents would seem to be pointless without this implied connection to an energy source outside of ourselves. I'm going to leave the scene there. Yes, because it implies that we're going to wait and see, and it will show us later as You read on to see how this works out, right? All that's required is to understand that when it comes to intent, it's implied, at least in my conception of intent, which is a kind of power, much like will, but less personal. She does mention will, good for her. I think of will as being the usage of my regular energy to put an intention into action, to get serious about it, to take it to the next level, and to actually apply that intention. The same is so with intent, except that when it comes to intent, we enlist energy we don't normally access. Yes? Both will and intent take intention or wishes. I idle. No, I don't think so. I think so. Idea, desires, casual wants, and the like, and apply them, making them real, putting them into action. Yes. Yeah. Accessing and leveraging outside energy sources is a part of intent to me. I'm going to say that outside energy source. It's only one, really. These energy sources, this this energy source could also be thought of as subconscious, or part of the larger self we don't always have access to, as our subconscious. Doesn't really matter, but it's why action, effort, and commitment are so critical, as it's about seriousness of purpose. It's a nice phrase, seriousness of purpose. That's how we can access and enlist those energies, and how we avoid our frivolous and unthought through intentions from becoming applied. But regardless of our beliefs in this matter, value and results can be obtained through application, much the same as we use a computer without understanding how it works. Standing intent. This is something we didn't really discuss when talking about intent and intention. That we need to have intentions, not
Mm.
as a replacement for intents, but as a safeguard for not having inappropriate intents. Right? So an intention doesn't mean anything; it goes nowhere. Right? Oh, my intention is to do this. My intention to do that. It's like kind of like kids say stuff, right? I want to be a nurse. I want to be an astronaut. Those are all intentions. They don't really mean anything. There's no action on it, right? But it allows them to explore the idea of being an astronaut or a nurse or whatever. Yeah. See? So when you think of intentions as practice to see whether you really want it or not, right? You explore the idea through the intention. You get immersed in it. You start to. It's like a what do they call it when like a big project and you have to go and do it, like a case study, right? You do that preparation to see if it's a feasibility study. Yeah. Intentions are like feasibility studies. Make sense?
Yes.
This is very deep.
Yes.
Absolutely. This is very deep. This is very deep. Will you take care of Jason, please?
Yes. Yes.
Uh,
Please continue. I'm taking care of it.
yeah, yeah. So it's very deep, very deep. Yes. When we think of intentions as feasibility studies, because if we set an intent every time we want to do something, like I set the intent to be an astronaut, I'm enlisting the universe, and I set this process in motion. But then I come and say, oh, I want to be a nurse. Okay, sometimes I've seen this happen many times, and people don't realize it, right? They set multiple intents and the universe puts them together. So they end up being an astronaut, but they end up being the medic on the spaceship or whatever, right? Or at the, in the space station. And okay, they didn't really want to do that and be the medic. They wanted to be the adventurer outside, but well, you had that intent to be a nurse. Well, now they put them together. See, it's a big deal. It's a very big deal. This so application is what makes the difference. Standing intents. I also see complications with intent, and yeah, Biela is talking about this. We have many standing intents, such as the intent to goodness. Right, that's an always ongoing, ever intent. These are like fail-safe intents where we have to protect us from ourselves, to protect us from unintended consequences of intents which are applied in a narrow and limited context, but which may result in longer-term effects we did not foresee. Those intents may be cancelled by our intent to goodness. We may also put into action conflicting intents without being aware of it, which again cancel or dilute each other. Personally, I find that trusting our intent to goodness, trusting it completely, trusting that we are in fact seeing the results of that intent to be powerful, trusting that we are experiencing, that what we are experiencing is the result of that intent. And this trusting, deep trusting, I find, changes my entire perspective on everything and minimizes my desire to intend. I am trusting it's all already as it should be, as I intend, in terms of what is good for me. Good not always being nice. Biella. Yes, there's much to intend. I have here only focused on the difference between intent and intention. But for more, see my response to the question of, is there a step-by-step for setting intent? In Ask Biella, questions answered, book 1. Yeah, we already read that. Yes. Norma, yes, somewhat, but when you get down to it, um, it's not so much how we define goodness, but how we implement goodness. So yes, for some people, it's good to be bad, yeah, but that's just the specific application, right? Like they think it's good to steal, yeah, but what they mean by good is very similar to a person who's, like a charity worker's intent to goodness, right? It's something that benefits. Now, a good is something that benefits. Well, for the thief, it benefits me. Yeah. For the charity worker, it benefits me and them, or sometimes it just benefits them and it doesn't benefit me. Yeah. Mother Teresa, a lot of people have a lot of problems with, right? And they criticize her and there are all sorts of things with her. But Mother Teresa said something very interesting. Hey, what happened, Paige? I wasn't trying to make you go somewhere else now. Dang it, you just messed things up here now. Go back to where I was. There we go. Let's see Norma's comments. Anyway, Mother Teresa said something. Yes, what's good for one may not be good for all. Absolutely, absolutely. So that's why it has to be good with awareness, always, like love. See, what love for one might not be love for all. Same thing, right? Same good and love, very interchangeable here. But I wanted to make the point about Mother Teresa in terms of goodness, right? She made it very clear, right? When people say, but how can you do all of this stuff? She said, because I get value and joy out of it. It's what I want to do. She wasn't, because they came and said, how can you work with the lepers and the poor and the dirty and all this? Like, how do you put up with it? In other words, how do you suffer through it? This was the implication. And she made it very clear. I'm not suffering. I'm not having a hard time here. I love doing this. I enjoy it. It gives me great joy. I do it for me. I do it for me. She was very, very, very adamant and clear about this. Don't think that I'm suffering to do this. I'm not. I want to do. Huh? So this is, a very different point on goodness. Just a little aside there. But it's a big point, and I always respected her for that in a big way. Again, a lot of people criticized her, but still, I thought she was great when it comes to that. Right? She did what she wanted to do. Fantastic, good for you. You know. Very important. Very important. Any comments on this, Beena?
I'm just absorbing this intention and having an intention or having intentions, not to
As
replace, not to
feasibility
replace.
studies,
Yes, yes. This is
practice.
very interesting.
It's just exploration, practice. You get immersed in it. It is, and that's why I emphasize it because Biella shares it here, and we talk a lot about intent and intention, and this is something that hasn't come up in our things because typically I'm being a bit critical of intentions because they get misused. Yes, and so
Yeah,
I'm focusing on appropriate usage of intent and intention because intentions are being substituted for intents, and the people think it's an intent, but it's not. It's an intention, and it doesn't get them anywhere, right? And it's that's just as well because if they had put those as intents, they would go crazy on the other side with intents and have all these conflicting and contradicting, right? So to understand the difference here is very clear, but to see that intention also has a positive, yes, uh,
mm,
not in the way most people think, because they're just fooling themselves. They think if I have the intention, that's enough. No, it's not, and that's where typically the focus is that people are losing out because of not understanding. But when we get into the sophistication of Biella here, which she says, hey, your intentions are valuable too. Listen up, the feasibility studies, experiments, testing, exploration, right? You're getting into it, right? What I'm not committed. This is fantastic. Right? So again, the underlying that makes this so valuable is because Biela operates always from that point of impeccability. If impeccability is already a given, then your intentions are going to be impeccably applied, right? Which means it's not the same as where they are typically, oh, I have this intention. It's just BS. You're just saying that so that you can look good and get out of responsibility and all sorts of stuff, right? It's a squirm. It's a stratagem. It's a mechanism. But for Biella, obviously, can't do that. Of course, she doesn't have that kind of nonsense in her. So when for her an intention, well, how do you have an intention impeccably? As a test, as a feasibility study, as an exploration, as a getting into the feel of it, the vibe of it, to see if I really want to go forward with this and make it into an intent, upgrade it into it. That's a big deal. That's a big deal, right?
yes.
That's very cool. That's very cool. So it's a new point that we haven't discussed, right? That has come up here.
Mm.
Thank you, Biella. Thank you, Biella. Thank you, Biella. That's very cool. Yes, Beena?
Yes.
So definitely this picture needs to get changed. Correct? You agree?
Mm. Spiritually. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. We
It's,
want to
it's
change it
very,
right now
very.
or want to do it later?
I think that we could just do it right now. Why not?
Why is do it now so important?
Because later never comes. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Because later never comes. This really amuses me. It's like ego is a tool. It has that double meaning. Later never comes. Of course it never comes because it wouldn't be later, it would be now. Right? so So when you get to later, it's now, so it never comes. But also the other meaning is that if you put it off for later, you never get to do it. And that's very important. All right, so insert image from file. Yeah. Oh, are we in the shortlist already? Yes, we are. Oh, don't make me make the view large every time. I want that as my default. Okay, so yeah, it says how serious are we? And I think there was other images that said how serious are we? We'll see. Are we in the short list? Yeah, yeah. This one can be a potential, right, Beena?
Hmm. Yeah, try.
But no, I'm not gonna insert it. I'm just gonna scroll down till we see something. See, here's this one. How serious are we? With a question mark. And I think it says ask Biella down here. Let's see. Yeah, ask Biella. Question answered. Question. Question. Question,
Question.
not plural. Okay, I think we're gonna leave this one here. What do you think, Beena?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
it even says chapter 4, not 5, but it doesn't matter. How
Oh, no,
serious? Misspelled a bit, but that's okay.
why it is saying chapter? Just change it. This is
Who
a good picture, but
who knows? Who knows? Okay, so this one no good either then, yeah?
no, just change the chapter 4 thing.
You mean make this chapter 4?
Yeah,
Okay,
like
okay.
no, I'm just saying that okay, can you make this picture again just with the text change of to chapter
No,
5?
no.
No? Okay. Okay, then it's a different thing.
But I can change the chapter to chapter 4. That I can do. There we go. And this one must 5 now. And this one must 4. Okay. It doesn't have serious spelled correctly, but that's okay. It's close enough, right? Yeah. Because I think this is very important in the whole point here. How serious are we really? And this is it's asking a big question, and I just love that it says question answer, not questions, right? She's answering the question here very much so. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. All right. I like that. I like that. All right. Very good. All right. Next chapter. You know what? I think today uh needs to be at the front. You mean at the very top of the chapter? Well, it's not a very long chapter, Norma. So I made this one put it in the middle. Yeah. Because if we look at the previous chapter, we've got this one. Oh, maybe oh somehow I lost this picture here. What happened to the picture here? Slide down. Oh, okay. Anyway, so there's a picture at the top, and then I think 2 has one at the top as well. Yeah, see, so it goes, at the top, at the top, at the top, and then this one now is in the middle. See? Yeah. You see, it's right here. So that's why it's that way. All right. But I think we're going to end here for today. We only have a half today, says Norma. Exactly. Exactly. And today is a very long day. It's eternity. 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 But when you think of all the intents and intentions and all working together, all of this extraness here, it's just great. And you see the little faces in between here too still, little, see another one. It's like all of this is what it looks like. If our intentions are implemented as intents, this is what it would be like. Or you could say this is all the intentions, but they're all just there, kind of jumbling out there. But it would be a mess if we tried to apply them all. See? Why this distinction between intent and intention is a very, very sophisticated understanding of the new nobility. This is Nobelia-Living. This is why Nobelia-Living is so profound. Yes? Because it really applies this. Yeah? Really applies this. All right, cheerio then. Cheerio, Norma. I like that. Cheerio. Cheerio. Maybe I'll have some Cheerios just because of that. Maybe. Maybe. I love this. Beena, any comments before we go?
Yes, it's a big topic, and it happens almost every day with the reading that we got so much out of it, but something really profound, and I'm like, wow, okay, again. So now, and it needs that topic. in every single day's live, in every single live, one topic which needs to be discussed in detail. And I always feel like, this is something I need more discussion. I need more illustration from, of course, Syl, and to understand it in the totality. This is something like, okay, because for me, of course, the part of capital R reading is to make it connected with already existing perspectives and ideas.
Please repeat that
If it
exact
is not,
sentence.
yes, okay, to make it connected with the already existing perspectives and ideas and awareness, so it can be utilized, so it can be innate, so it can be organic. So I don't need to think about it again in this whole like, oh yeah, it's a new thing. No, when we make connection that thing with the previous understanding, awareness, perspectives, and ideas, then it becomes innate, and then it also makes sense to us. Of course, the update can always happen, of course, and it is needed, it is required. But till the new thing came in, uh, which is accessible, which is sensible, of course, it needs to be connected. And that is something I feel that, okay, this is the real foundation of capital R reading also. Then once it will happen, then you don't need to prepare yourself for anything.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Once you've done that, that connection, because now that connectivity is an implementation, it's application, and you make it your own. You take it inside, you own it. Once you own it, you
Yes,
don't have to remember it, right?
exactly,
You're saying.
exactly.
Yeah. So
Yes, so
what?
today's
Oh,
topic was the intentions and of course intent, because in the beginning I was not understanding, but yes, but it was also kind of not overlooked, but not get into the real detail it deserved to be discussed. This is something I feel that, okay, I'm not 100% satisfied with that, and I want to. But first, the most important thing right now in our lives is that, okay, today's tomorrow's podcast, and of course the series of podcast and the works and everything. But we will definitely, I would love to come back to these topics again, and then of
oh yeah,
course
oh yeah,
just
oh
explore it
yeah,
more
oh yeah.
and more and more and more in detail. So before going, tomorrow is a big day for us. Please come and join us. This is
Earlier
this
though, earlier.
yes,
It's at
earlier.
eight
Just
thirty.
be there.
It's at
Yes,
8:30. So in other words,
yes,
an hour and a half earlier to the usual time, right?
yes, yes. Okay,
So
okay. Thank you
11:30
so much,
Eastern
Syl. Thank you
Standard
so
Time.
much. Yes, thank you so much, Norma, for being here.
Yes, thank you very much, Norma. Thank you very much, Norma. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. All right. Bye bye,
Thank you.
everybody. Bye bye, everybody. And I'll come right back, Beena, because we've got to do what we've got to do. End meeting for all.